Okay, here's the bow. It's covered in strapping tape, which I'm going to remove. I just wanted that there to protect it and me in the case that it failed spectacularly. So there's, as we've seen, braced. Actually, this is up. I think in the next version, I'd make the handle a little bit even narrower. So instead of using a full half 1 inch pipe for the top, I'd use a little bit less. But it's really, really getting there. So drawing it to see how it looks. Can you see the full bow? Okay. Hi YouTube, Tim here, and I've got a bow that I'm working on for someone. It's a Sipahi bow. This is my third one. I showed you the handle before and how it's an improved profile. Just see if you can see that. Nice and thin, but still has an appropriate shape. It might even still be a touch too large, but it feels perfect in my hand. The other thing to remember is that people of that day and age tended to be slightly smaller, shorter, not necessarily the warriors and the rulers, but just on average, nevertheless, heights were a little bit smaller. So, taller person, larger body, slightly larger grip, not a problem, I don't think. So what I've done with it is I've covered it in strapping tape. One, because I really would hate for it to explode and cause damage. Two, and particularly about this bow, I'm a little bit paranoid. For me, the paranoia is also part of an experiment. I clamped the bow down so that the limbs were essentially flat, and then I applied the strapping tape. So right here in this area, the strapping tape is pretty darn stressed. That's fiberglass. That's great. So maybe, just maybe, we'll get a little bit of extra work. Ultimately, I'm going to cover all this with leather, so you're not going to see any of it anyway. But it will provide, nevertheless, a tiny little bit of extra protection to the bow. So to me, that's worth it. That's satisfactory. And like I said, the fiberglass should already be quite stressed, particularly in the sole region, which is just where you'd expect it to be. So let's go ahead and draw it, because one, I want to see if it can be drawn. Two, what its weight will be at draw, because I'm aiming for approximately 50-55 pounds. The brace height here is 7 inches, just a shade over 7 inches, and it's a beautiful 7 inches at that. This is almost perfect. Almost exactly the shape and size and everything that I'd go for in a Turkish style bow. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start the draw test. Okay, kind of feel like getting goggles or something, but okay, here we go. Starting off. Pull it gently, so far so good. 20 inches, 28 pounds. Great. Let's try it again. 22 inches, 32.65 pounds. .4 inches, 37.15 pounds. This is shaping up to be almost exactly what I wanted. Now notice I'm not just cranking it full back to the full draw. Partly I just want to see how it behaves. If I notice it starting to creak and do odd things, I'm gonna maybe retiller the bow and just be real careful. But at this stage it looks great, and it hasn't complained, and the draw weight's not even all that high. Okay, so 24 pounds, or 24 inches, 37.15, 25, 39.25, 36, oh, I keep saying that, 26, 40.75, 27, 44.1, tiller looks good, 28 is 46.85. If you pulled the bow a little bit more rapidly, the draw weight would be higher. So 46, that should be about 50 pounds. That's pretty close to what I wanted. It's very, very, very spot on. It draws, let me draw it a little bit more quickly, to 26 inches for starters. 41 pounds. And now let's give it a try drawing it to with reasonable speed all the way to 28 inches. $48.8 pounds. .8% of the time. $47.25. So it's losing a little bit of weight as it's being used, which is to be expected. Now if I let it rest and then drew it again, I bet it would go back to very close to its full normal weight. I love summer showers. It was a dark and stormy night, and Tim tested the Sipahi bow. So there it is. It's a beautiful bow, draws beautifully. I'm sure it's going to shoot just fine. It feels nice. It really does, and I'm very pleased with how it's turned out. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to shoot it out. I'll test it out. Man, that grip feels awesome. I'm loving my version 2.0 of the grip, which, if you missed it last time, was 3/4 inch pipe for the core, 3/4 inch pipe sliced open and popped on top of the core, 1 inch pipe cut in half on top. All of that sanded, all of the terminuses, the termini, terminals, the ends there, covered in hot glue to smooth it out. Feels great. So time to shoot it out, cover it, get it ready for shipping. Thanks for watching, YouTube.